Hi, welcome back. It's Liz at Book Learning, and I am back from the lake. So I wanted to do a quick update on what I read at Lake Anna on our family vacation. So if you saw my last video, you know I brought a lot of books, and I did not read all of them. Of course not. The first one I read, I did finish Lucia Berlin's A Manual for Cleaning Women, and it is wonderful all the way through. Now that I've read the whole thing as a collection, it does a really good job of providing a portrait of a very complex person, a whole life, and I really appreciated that. Even though some of the themes are sort of dark, it's very hopeful, and the characters in each of the stories are typically trying to find the silver lining or the lesson to be learned or something to be hopeful about, even if their life isn't perfect. So I highly recommend it if you haven't read Lucia Berlin's A Manual for Cleaning Women. I would encourage you to check it out. I started and finished The Decision, and one of my brothers-in-law borrowed it, so I don't have it anymore. But The Decision is Britta Bowler's short novel looking very in-depth at the moment in which Thomas Mann has to decide if he's going to publicly denounce the Nazi regime in 1936 from his exile in Switzerland. And I really enjoyed it. It was very cerebral, so I'm not sure if it's the book for everybody, because there's not a lot of action, and I found the character Thomas Mann to be rather a man-child, whether that's just because of the period in time in which he was a man, or if it was more to do with the fact that the book is from inside his mind, and everyone is selfish in their own mind. I'm not really sure, because I don't know enough about Thomas Mann to be able to judge his character like that. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the in-depth look at this difficult decision, hence the title, I'm sure, of Thomas Mann, as he's grappling with the potential implications of distancing himself from a growing evil empire, and what that might mean for him in relationship to his beloved homeland of Germany. So if you haven't read it, I would encourage you to read that one as well. I tried to read this YA graphic novel on the Gettysburg Address, and I've already returned the book, so I don't remember the author or the artist, but it just jumped around too much for me in terms of the timelines and the storylines or the themes it was trying to address. So it just wasn't for me. But my mother-in-law enjoyed flipping through it, so that was cool. I also started, but I didn't finish until today, The Lost City of Z by David Grann. It is a fascinating story. I really, really enjoyed it. It tells of Percy Harrison Fawcett's obsessive search for an ancient empire deep in the heart of the Amazon, and his disappearance in 1925 as a result. The author of this nonfiction book tries to trace the tale to its origin, and it was... I'd read it to the end because it's really, really fascinating, but I'm not going to give it away. That said, while the story is really fascinating, I was less impressed by the writing, and I think that has to do with the fact that David Grann has his roots in reporting and journalism. I've read two other, half researcher's adventure and half research nonfiction books that I would definitely elevate over this one, and they were The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot, and The Black Count by Tom Rees. Both of those follow a similar pattern of doing research into an obscure or unknown or hidden history or fact, and juxtapose it with their actual search for the truth. I just felt that David Grann didn't have as good a control over that weaving of narratives as Skloot or Rees. But I'm also not sure about the publishing history. It could be that David Grann offered one of the first modern models of this kind of writing, and Skloot and Rees just mastered it quickly. So that's, I don't want to knock David Grann because I don't know enough about it to really aim a barb at him. And the story was really fascinating. So check it out. I wanted to read it before I watched the movie. So I'm going to look forward to when The Lost City of Z comes out on like Redbox or Netflix or something. The last book that I read over the vacation was the little short children's book She Persisted. I had heard about it from a coworker / friend, and she was really excited about it, so I just ordered it off Amazon impetuously, and I wanted to take it with me so I could pass it along to my 5-year-old niece and 3-year-old nephew, but it's not, the book is not not as accessible to him yet. So that's why I say niece. I think it's accessible to any child as long as they're old enough to understand how to read. In terms of the book itself, I was a little underwhelmed by the framing of the biographies that it presents. It offers very short, inspirational type biographies of, I think, 13 historical American women. But I hated the framing of it, the first page and the last page, essentially, because it introduces doubt, and there's in that, it says, essentially, people will discriminate against you because you're a girl, and that kind of framing has been shown in educational and developmental theories to be detrimental. So you think you're doing a good thing when you are the adult trying to tell somebody that they might face this trouble, and here's how to do it. But by telling them they might face a trouble because of some trait they cannot change, such as their gender, their age, their weight, their race, their socioeconomic status, you are giving them reason to doubt themselves. And for that reason alone, I just didn't like the framing of the book. But I thought it was an excellent collection of inspirational biographies, with the exception of Oprah Winfrey. I thought that was a very odd choice, but, whatever. I passed it along to my niece so she can have it and continue reading it. And I think, and the pictures in it were beautiful, so bravo to the illustrator. Yeah, so that's what I read. I had a really great vacation, and I hope you get to have a good vacation or just a good relaxing time at some point this summer of your own. And